can break the dark. A single spark ignites the heart. But if we turn when justice calls, the chains we forge will bind us all. When truth is silence, when lies take hold, the cost is freedom, the soul grows cold. No one stands tall while another must fall. Freedom for one depends on freedom for all. We're mavericks of freedom, rebels in the fight, defending every voice, defending every right. For the moment we falter, the moment we stall, we lose our own freedom when we let others fall. You can't stand free while others kneel. When justice fades, it's freedom they steal. An innocent condemned, a crime unspoken, and with it the bond of liberty is broken. No tyrant rules without our consent. Oppression thrives where silence is spent. Stand for the weak, the silence is small, or freedom will crumble for us all. We're mavericks of freedom, guardians of the light, fighting for the truth, for what is just and right. For the rights of one are the rights of all. We rise or we fall by answering the call. Even those we may oppose deserve the rights we all uphold. For if we deny them what is fair, we build our own prison in despair. The fight's not easy, it never will be, but justice for one is the key to be free. We stand as mavericks, together we strive, defending the rights that keep freedom alive. We're mavericks of freedom, rebels in the fight, upholding every truth, protecting every right. When one is oppressed, we're all in the thrall. Freedom for one depends on freedom for all. So take a stand, let your courage rise. Defend the truth, don't compromise. For the soul of the world, the writing's on the wall. Freedom for one depends on freedom for
Greetings Mavericks and new viewers. Tonight, direct and live from the Maverick News Network World Studios. This is Maverick News with Rick Walker.
Fake tariffs. Trump is either retreating on the auto tariffs in a way that he's hoping people won't notice, or he's just fake himself, full of crap. These auto tariffs, they're not even going to take effect on April 2nd in Canada or any of the USMCA covered automobiles. I'll explain why. And I'm finding it very interesting as we get into this election cycle tonight. I'm seeing political spin thrown onto this in a way that is just blatantly partisan, and it's just taking the masks off some of these streamers who pretend to be journalists. Not to mention, the mainstream media not catching up on this yet, because I don't think they've clued in, but they will. And we'll dig into this tonight. We have all that. Like, it's just tariffs, Trump tariffs. It's all this talk. And not to say that we're out of the woods. We're not. But this is ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. I'm going to show you when we come back. We have other stories too, but I'm going to show you when we come back why this whole auto tariff thing that's supposed to happen on April 2nd is just fake. It's fake. With a flourish of his Sharpie yesterday, Donald Trump put on another show for the world, especially for Canada and Mexico, and yet it's all fake. Because I think he's just full of it at the end of the day. That's really what it comes down to. And this is just unacceptable. I will be right back.
Greetings, brave Mavericks. Our quest for truth continues. We go beyond fake news. Together we expose propaganda. Together we pull others out of rabbit holes. We are maverick thinkers. We are all unique individuals, defenders of individual rights and freedoms, credible, trusted, grounded in reality. Maverick News, defending free speech, Donate at freedomreporters.com. Do it now. Tomorrow may be too late. Maverick News. The world is watching.
Okay, I'm back. So yesterday, Donald Trump signs the piece of paper, the executive order, saying that auto tariffs are coming into effect. And then I thought overnight, why did he do that when Liberation Day is April 2nd? And then he goes out of his way to have this event, this photo op in the Oval Office where he signs specifically for the auto industry yesterday. But then in the course of announcing the auto tariffs at 25%, which he said 25% yesterday, no exceptions, his words. He then says that it won't take effect until April 2nd. And then I thought, well, why? He said it will take effect April 2nd, but why do that specifically for the auto industry yesterday when everything else is supposed to happen on the April 2nd? Why the fanfare yesterday? Why make a big deal out of that when it's not even happening until April 2nd when everything else is supposed to happen? But he did. And then I thought, well, maybe it's because he's trying to prepare the industry for it. He provided some, he said he gave, a delay for the auto industry when the auto industry executives went to see him, and they were pleading with him, please don't do this. You're going to blow a hole in the auto industry. The executive from Ford went, and General Motors. Well, it turns out these things are not even going to take effect on April 2nd, and they're not even going to apply. Because Doug Ford, our premier, who people have been, people on the right have been beating up because he's been on the side of we have to retaliate. I'll tell you this, it's working. Trump is weak. Don't let anybody sit there and tell you otherwise, because now we're seeing where things are really at. tonight, we now know that Doug Ford spoke, the Premier of Ontario spoke to Howard Lutnick, the Commerce Secretary, and found out that the tariffs, according to the information given to Doug Ford, the tariffs will not apply to vehicles with 50% U.S. content. That's pretty much everything that is produced in Canada anyway. And he told Ford that no auto plants in Canada are going to be shut down, which is what the purpose of the tariffs is to begin with. And then when you dig into this, we'll find out more. I have the White House fact sheet on the tariffs, which was released late yesterday, kind of overnight. I don't know exactly what time, but very few people are catching up with this yet. But I have some comments to make about it, and then I'm going to show you what's in the fact sheet, and then I'm going to go over why this is all basically a bunch of BS. And it should agitate everyone, get a lot of people upset, because this is ridiculous. That the chaos that is being created because of this is as bad as, or maybe worse than, the tariffs in some ways. But here's Doug Ford today, and I don't blame him a bit. This is my personal position on this, me editorializing. Because Doug Ford is saying today at this news conference that he had with regard to this, that he still doesn't believe for sure that the U.S. is not going to impose tariffs. Smart. Keep your guard up. We don't know from 1 minute to the next what we're going to get. But he also says that, we still need to retaliate, because this is what I'm talking about tonight is only about the auto industry tariffs. These other tariffs, we have to wait and see what he's really going to do. But if this is any indication, I think Trump is getting a big wake-up call from the world. Everybody's like, you shouldn't push back against him. He'll crush you. He'll destroy Canada. And I was like, no, you have to take a strategic approach. You have to defend yourself. Stand up. Have a little self-respect. It'll pay off. And indeed it is tonight. That's my take on it. Here's Doug Ford saying that that Ontario, Canada, Team Canada, still going to defend itself. We're going to defend Canada, and it's the right approach. We're getting results. Trump is weak.
I had an opportunity to speak to the Prime Minister, and I'm in full support of preparing retaliatory tariffs, tariff for tariff, but we want to see what he's going to do on April the 2nd. As we've seen over a number of months, it's on again, off again. Yep. And he said he wasn't going to do it till April 2nd. Well, he launched an early attack, which is not surprising. But I've asked the Prime Minister to convene an FMM call as soon as possible, and recommended early next week, possibly Monday, and discuss this with the other premiers to make sure we take a Team Canada approach to this. But I can tell you, we just aren't going to roll over. We're going to retaliate, and he's going to feel the pain from the American people.
Yeah, because, and, okay, hang on, we're not done. We're not done. He has more. Let me bring this up. And yeah, because we're not done. We're not done with Trump, but he's backtracking on all this stuff.
From the American people. We have two options here. We either roll over as a country, and he runs us over 15 times and gets what he wants, or we feel a little bit of pain and we fight like we've never fought before.
Right.
I do not want to hurt other provinces on that, but I can assure you one thing. We're going to make sure that we inflict as much pain as possible to the American people without inflicting pain on the Canadian population. All he's doing is hurting the American people. He thinks the cost is going to go down for automobiles in the U.S. It's the total opposite.
Yeah.
the costs are going to go skyrocketing. It keeps calling out countries. He's really pointing us out for the most part. Ontario, 50% of the parts within the vehicles are American. And, how do you dissect? They were showing me drawings today of all the different parts from all over the world, by the way, that goes in one vehicle.
Right.
That 65 billion of tariffs that we have on the table that we can launch towards the U.S., we have to run through every tariff and minimize the pain for Canadians, maximize the pain for Americans. And I feel terrible for the Americans, but it's one person, it's President Trump, that's creating this chaos.
Exactly. Exactly. That is the point. It's one guy causing all of this, and that is Donald Trump. But I'm seeing tonight, and I'm not even going to name the names of certain streamers who have long blonde hair. The liberals are lying. They're lying about the tariffs. Oh yeah, the liberals are lying about the tariffs because they lied about the tariffs that Donald Trump controls. No, nobody knows what the hell is going on with the tariffs. That's the problem. Except that we do now have, finally, the fact sheet from the White House. The liberals weren't lying. They're as confused as everybody else. We don't know what Trump's going to do from 1 minute to the next. Donald Trump doesn't know what he's going to do from 1 minute to the next because this is all new territory. Nobody's ever used tariffs like this before. And I think, and he's getting pushback and he's getting a wake-up call. If he's now realizing that if he actually does this, he'll tank the whole economy. He'll destroy the auto industry, not revitalize it in the United States. He's not going to repatriate it or bring it back because it was never stolen from the United States to begin with, not from Canada, certainly not from we didn't steal anything. We're not ripping you off. He's going to rip off taxpayers. He's trying to rip off Canada. That's what he's doing. He's trying to rip everybody off, including the U.S. taxpayers. Here's the fact sheet. And this is why it's all fake, okay? Because the 25% tariff will be applied to imported passenger vehicle sedans, blah, 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 blah. Yes, but if you read down, USMCA compliant automobile parts will remain tariff-free until the Secretary of Commerce, in consultation with U.S. Customs and Border Protection, establishes a process to apply tariffs to their non-U.S. content. So if these parts are USMCA compliant, basically, if these parts are made in America at a certain level, if you have U.S.-made parts, I think Letnick said today in the call with Ford, 50%, then the cars won't be subject to tariffs. Well, as you just heard Doug Ford say in that news conference, the vehicles produced in Canada already meet that requirement. That means these tariffs are not going to apply, which means this is all a bunch of hullabaloo over nothing. It's a great big nothing burger because what? Why is it a nothing burger? Because Trump is in retreat on this. So not only is it the 50% thing, they still have to come up with a process to determine how to apply these tariffs because it's very complex. If you just come, like, even at the border, they don't know how to apply this. Cars show up at the border from auto plants, right? How do you know what to apply on these parts? What percentage is it? What's the formula? The border, the customs people don't even know at the border at this point. You have to get these things in place. It takes time. And so now we're seeing that, well, if they're USMCA compliant, then it's exempt anyway. Well, what is USMCA? That's the trade deal negotiated during Trump's first administration that he negotiated with a liberal government at the time. And it replaced the North American Free Trade Agreement. Now, under USMCA, they have, just as they did with NAFTA, a very complicated content, like a bunch of content protocols and rules with regard to, what percentage of tariffs or whatever it might be applied. And so they have, I brought up some notes here. So you have a thing called regional value content requirement for a passenger vehicle or light truck to qualify for preferential duty-free tariff treatment under the USMCA. At least 75% of its value must be derived from North American content that is produced in the United States, Canada, or Mexico. And that's a significant increase over the 62% requirement that they had under NAFTA. The agreement categorizes auto parts into core, principal, and complementary parts. Core parts are engines, transmissions, batteries for electric vehicles, and they have to meet specific RVC thresholds ranging from 75 to 85% of North American content. And then, see, on the Canadian side too, we've always, to make the trade arrangements work for Canada, we've always had required that a certain percentage of the parts coming off the assembly line, off an assembled vehicle or on an assembled vehicle, have to be manufactured in Canada too. So there was a certain level of Canadian content. It's a complicated formula. And it was, I think at one point it was sort of like if one vehicle is produced here, one has to be sold here. It was sort of at that level to make sure that the industry was robust here and vibrant, but you could have a mix of vehicles back and forth. So you could buy one of these from over there that produced in the States, but we had to export one over that way. It was just kind of a checks and balances thing to make sure that the trade was balanced and that the industry was sustainable on both sides. I don't remember the exact formula for NAFTA, but they revised that under USMCA. Now with these tariffs, that was Trump basically violating the terms of this agreement, which I'm sure that the Canadian government, and probably Mexico as well, they were going to go to the World Trade Organization and file a dispute, take it to arbitration. Trump would lose, right? And pay a big penalty because he's the one who agreed to this. This is why he's backtracking, because this is just a mess. And so really what this is it's like we're doing tariffs. Then he's realizing how stupid it is because he's getting all this pushback. And so, but he doesn't want to be seen as losing. And all the pressure coming from Canada is like, it's too much. Not just from Canada, but from the auto industry executives who went to see him at the White House. Do you remember I talked about that? They went to see him and they said, please stop. Don't do this. You're going to destroy the industry. You're going to, the quote was, I believe from Mr. Farley from Ford, was, you're going to blow a hole in the auto industry. So he gave them an extra 30 days. Now we're at this point and he's having this, he put on this show yesterday, but that's what it was. It was a show. He signs off on it and hopes nobody's going to notice. But I just showed you the fact sheet on the tariffs. It's not real because he can't do it. We scored. Game's not over. We're still in the first period. There's more to come. Make no mistake, this is not over. Trump, but it's a mess, and it's ridiculous because it's just like it is, as the Wall Street Journal reported, it is the dumbest trade war ever. One thing about Trump is when he does something, he goes big. He goes big. Now, Mark Carney today saying that he will be speaking with Trump about all of this very soon. And of course, he's told Trump he's got to knock off all this talk about the 51st state and annexing Canada. It's disrespectful. Then we can get down and talk about these trade issues, right? Well, today he addressed again these tariffs because of Trump's big show yesterday. And I don't know if at this point the information on the fact sheet and what the reality of it is, he'd even come back yet to Mark Carney, because this information is not really like out in the public spotlight. It's in the background. And it kind of contradicts everything that is being reported and said by Trump himself, by the media, because the media in the US is still talking about the tariffs globally. These tariffs will still apply to cars coming from places like China, Japan, Europe, but not North America. At least not right now. Things could change by April 2nd. Things could change in an hour. But right now, it's fake as fake can be. And people need time to catch up to this information. It just isn't out there yet. But don't let anybody tell you that, and I don't want to defend the liberals. I'm just trying to be factual and not put political spin on this. This is Trump. Yesterday, he said that it's 25%, no exceptions, his words. So that's the information that people are reporting, have been reporting. That's the information the politicians were going with until late today, when after Doug Ford got off that phone call with Howard Lutnick, that's when I clued in. And then I went and I found the fact sheet. Then I started to see these other streamers starting to pick up on information, but they're spinning it around because there's an election on. And they're like, the liberals are lying about it. I don't know what the liberal side is saying yet, if they've picked up on it, what they're going to say about the conservatives, about Polyev. I don't know how they're going to spin it, but everybody is making excuses for Trump. And you know why? The other reason, it's because they can't say what I'm saying. Because they've all been making excuses for Trump, saying, well, Trump's doing us a big favor by punching us in the face. No, he's not. No, he's not. But here's Carney today. Let's pick this up.
Okay. Good afternoon. Bonjour tout le monde. Today, my cabinet colleagues and I met to discuss Canada's response to the latest developments in the trade crisis. Yesterday, in the latest salvo in his trade war, President Trump again imposed unjustified tariffs on our nation in violation of our existing trade agreements. This time, he targeted the auto industry and the more than 500,000 hardworking, dedicated Canadians that industry supports across our country. Now, the President of the United States is trying to fundamentally restructure his economy. It means our economy, and it means the global economy as well. And I understand and respect his goal to support American workers, but I disagree with him that this is how to help them. With time, it will become apparent that these actions will end up hurting American workers and American consumers. I reject any attempts to weaken Canada, to wear us down, to break us so that America can own us. That will never happen. And our response to these latest tariffs is to fight, is to protect, and to build. We will fight the U.S. tariffs with retaliatory trade actions of our own that will have maximum impact in the United States and minimum impacts here in Canada. We will protect our workers and our industries during this difficult period. But above all, we will build a new Canadian economy. We will build Canada strong. Se battre pour nos travailleurs, protéger notre économie et nos concitoyens, bâtir.
And Carney today saying that the United States is no longer a reliable partner, which is true now,
que les
at least at this point.
Ne sont plus un partenaire fiable.
Because you don't know what you're going to get from one day to the next.
Les négociations compréhensives, on puisse rétablir un élément de confiance.
And even with this fact sheet, what is coming out of the White House, it contradicts what's on the fact sheet.
Le prochain
But
gouvernement
I'm showing you
et
now,
tout ce
because of what
qui
Lutnick said as
suivra
well to Ford.
aura
Now we know where we're really
relation
going with this as of April 2nd, anyway.
différente avec les États-Unis.
At least for the moment.
Coming to terms with this sobering reality is the first step to taking necessary actions to defend our nation. But it's only the first step. Last night, the President of the United States reached out to schedule a call. I appreciate this opportunity to discuss how we can protect our workers and build our economies. I will make clear to the President that those interests are best served by cooperation and mutual respect, including of our sovereignty. Entre-temps, je viens de tenir
Right.
une rencontre
So,
avec
no
mon
issues with
comité
that.
ministériel
And I'm pretty sure Pierre
Canada-
Poilievre will be on the same
États-Unis.
page with that.
Je convoque une réunion des premiers ministres
Mutual
qui
respect,
se
discuss,
tiendra demain.
get back to the bargaining
Je vais
table. If you want to
rencontrer
renegotiate
mon
USMCA,
conseil
that's
des
great.
relations canado-américaines et je parlerai aux chefs d'entreprise,
This,
aux
but this
syndicats.
tariff threats,
aux
blah,
dirigeants
blah,
autochtones.
blah, showbiz in the
Ces
White House.
discussions permettront d'avoir une réponse
It's like reality
coordonnée
TV.
en tenant compte ce que le président
There's no way to-
décidera le faire
No way to
le
manage
2
the
avril,
economy.
date à laquelle il a menacé d'imposer des droits de douane supplémentaires. Soyons clairs. Nous sommes tous sur la même
Like it's
longueur
worse than a
d'onde.
used car salesman, and that's what we've had on the
Nous
White House lawn
reprendrons
with
avec
Tesla,
force.
a guy
Rien
who's
n'est
against
exclu
electric vehicles
pour
now,
défendre
no,
notre pays.
hawking Teslas on the
Let's
White
be
House
clear.
lawn.
We're all on the same page. We won't back down. We will respond forcefully. Nothing is off the table to defend our workers and our country. Now, to my fellow Canadians, I don't want to set unreasonable expectations. The road ahead will be long. There is no silver bullet. There is no quick fix. And I know and I understand that many are feeling anxious and worried about the future. Fundamental change is always unsettling. But I have every confidence in our country because I understand what President Trump does not. That we love Canada with every fiber of our being. Because we are stronger when we are together, and Canadians are uniting as never before. Now, we are going to have to live the lessons of recent months. First, that we have to look out for ourselves, and second, that we have to look out for each other. The federal government will do everything in its power to protect Canadian workers and businesses. We will be here for you every step of the way. In the past week, my government committed to use every dollar collected from our retaliatory tariffs to protect our workers. Et la semaine dernière, j'ai annoncé plusieurs
I
mesures.
think we've seen enough for the moment. Yeah, and keep in mind that he's not just talking about the auto tariffs. Trump is still saying he's going to even put tariff on lumber. I think they're going to put a 25% tariff on copper. It's just dumb. It's really dumb. And just to reinforce what I've been saying about this not actually going to apply to the auto industry at all on the Canadian side on April 2nd. Look, here's the CTV report tonight. Right here. So it says the call between Lutnick and Doug Ford took place around 11 p.m., lasted upwards of 25 minutes, and Ford said that Lutnick also claimed that a tariff on imported vehicles would not result in any plant closures. Now, then he goes on, says something the premier says he doesn't personally believe. And yeah, you can't now at this point assume that this is going to remain the case because an hour from now, Trump may change the terms set out in the fact sheet. So keep going. We now we are forced to continue to find ways to diversify our trading relationships with other countries so that we can insulate ourselves from the volatility, the chaos coming from the United States now. That is the biggest problem we're facing. And this is costing companies, our economy, billions of dollars right now because nobody knows what to do. Nobody knows how to plan. People are not investing. They're pulling back on investing because they're afraid the tariffs are coming in. Then they're hearing that they're not coming in. Farmers, cattle farmers don't know when to send their beef over the border. They don't know, should they do it Tuesday, next Tuesday, before next Tuesday, after next Tuesday? Are the tariffs on? Are they off? Do they have to rush to get their stuff to market in the next few days before the tariffs hit? Or will there even be tariffs? What's the auto industry going to do? Are they laying people off or not laying people off? How do they know? We have just-in-time delivery systems for the parts coming into these auto plants that I talked about last night. How do you manage a just-in-time delivery system for the auto industry, for auto plants, with parts going back and forth across the border every day right now, when you don't even know if next Tuesday there will be a 25% tariff on the parts that you're transporting, and if there's going to be a market adjustment in demand for your product, so you don't know how many cars to produce because it's a complete disruption in the market. There's no way for you to forecast to get even kind of a sense of where the market is going to be next Wednesday. And you don't want to have to stockpile vehicles, and that means, do you lay people off? Do you keep people on? If you laid people off last week, do you recall them to put them back on the assembly line? If you don't produce enough, you won't have enough to meet demand. You don't know. And then that filters all the way back down the supply chain for every piston, every battery pack, every tire, every brake pad, every tie rod end, every knob on every radio inside the car. If you have knobs, I'm old school that way. I like the knobs. You turn the radio on and turn it to make the volume go up, and then you turn it the other way to make the volume go down, and click, and it goes off. I wish we still had those instead of all that punching the buttons. Okay, editorializing. I just, yeah. And even under USMCA, at least 70% of the steel and aluminum used in a vehicle must be sourced from North America, United States, Canada, or Mexico to qualify for the preferential treatment under the terms of USMCA. And if it's under the terms of USMCA, I guess that these tariffs are not going to apply. So we're good. What was all this about then, Donald? Please enlighten me. Please. It's stupid. And then, of course, because the election is on, we're getting all this political spin around it, and people get confused. So the politicians are trying to use it on both sides, all sides. The streamers are trying to cover their butts. You know, a lot of these people are paid, let's face it. So their opinions are a little slanted. It just, and then because they've been in the you can't say anything about Donald Trump that's bad because the MAGA mob will come and sick you, and then you'll lose your clicks. Yeah, well, I know, but then there's journalism. So now that Trump is doing this, they have to deflect and blame the liberals. No, or you can blame the conservative, whatever the no, it's Trump. It's all Trump. Just That's one guy doing all of this. He's responsible for all the chaos. Maybe that's the goal. Whether it is or it isn't, that's what we've got. I'll be right back.
Greetings, brave Mavericks. Our quest for truth continues. We go beyond fake news. Together we expose propaganda. Together we pull others out of rabbit holes. We are maverick thinkers. We are all unique individuals, defenders of individual rights and freedoms, credible, trusted, grounded in reality. Maverick News, Maverick News. Defending free speech, free speech. Donate at freedomreporters.com. Do it now. Tomorrow may be too late. Maverick News. The world is watching.
Okay, I'm going to look in the chat and see who I've triggered tonight. Oh. I'm over in the YouTube. Rick, this comedy or something? Kevin. That's fact. Can he go 5 minutes if they're crying about Trump? Oh, pfft. If Trump could shut his yap for 5 minutes, maybe I could. The orange orangutan. Who else wants to take a shot at me tonight who's a coward and never calls in but hides in the shadows, sometimes behind fake names, to attack me? Let's read my hate chat. Kevin Bullock. Rick moved to BC from Ontario was like moving to another country. Don't know what that means. He moved to BC. I don't know. That's maybe not for me. Don't know. I don't know. Is Kevin, are you talking to me? Rick, do you have boots? I don't know what that means. That's fact. Grow up. Thank you, Maverick. She loves me. Yeah. Yeah, don't worry. When Carney does something stupid, I'll call him out too, and I have. And Polyev. And Jagmeet Singh. Yeah, somebody says, is Rick being paid by the Liberals? Yeah. No, my bank account pretty much shows that it's called poverty. Because that's what real journalism gets you. Nobody really wants the truth, man. But if you lie and you just tell people what they want to hear, they'll donate like crazy, especially if you scare the crap out of them. Just ask Alex Jones. They're all killing you. The lizard people are eating your brains, and you don't even know it. Donate today. Buy my vitamins. Anyway, okay. That's enough of that chat. Let me go over to the Rumble. See if there's any love in there for me tonight. Does everybody hate me in the Rumble chat, or does anybody like me tonight? I think it's a little more forgiving in the Rumble chat. Oh, Linda's back. Hello, Linda. Glad you're in there. Yeah. Best wishes to you and your family, your husband. Yeah. And, and I do have my little mascot guy here again tonight. Thank you, May. And, I got my shadow box, too. Got my shadow box right here within arm's reach tonight. Thank you for that. And Dog Mom says, we love you, Rick. Thank you. All right. King Charles, the king that Canadians love to hate. There's another guy who takes it on the chin, right? He has cancer, and apparently he went in for some medical treatment and is experiencing side effects. So they're keeping him over in the hospital. So we're following that just to see if that becomes something more serious. Not really quite sure how serious it is at this point, but we'll keep you posted if there's any major development on it. For now, I think that we're just making note of it, and we'll come back to it if necessary. And what else do we have going on? Oh, yeah. And see, here's why, too. Here, I'm going to run a little bit of this NBC piece on the auto tariffs. This is why a lot of people not cluing in on this USMCA exemption on the tariffs. And if this, two reasons. Because the tariffs are being applied globally, right? And Trump then said in the White House yesterday, no exceptions. 25% across the board, no exceptions. He said that, his words. And then this morning, with U.S. media also still continuing with that story, no exceptions, 25%. People are taking time to catch up with the other document, and then the information coming from Lutnick, which, of course, not everyone would have access to.
This morning, American consumers potentially facing higher car prices as President Trump's trade war keeps ramping up. After the president announced Wednesday the U.S. will impose a 25% tariff on imported cars and car parts.
If they're made in the United States, there's absolutely no tariff.
Trump aiming to boost manufacturing in the U.S.
A lot of companies are going to be in great shape because they've already built their plant. Others will come into our country and build.
Nearly half of all vehicles sold in the U.S. are imported, including popular cars like the Chrysler Pacifica minivan, the VW Jetta, some Chevy Silverados, and the Ford Maverick, according to Auto Week. And many companies, even if they have American factories, use foreign parts.
It's pretty easy to do if parts are made in America, and we'll have very strong policing.
Now, experts say the tariffs could raise the price on new cars by thousands of dollars, and it could come quickly. Dealers only have about 60 days of inventory on their lots. Like many of the nation's tariffs, Mexico, one of the biggest exporters of cars and car parts, will be hit especially hard.
But see, this is why it's confusing, and this is why people are not picking up on it, because he said 50%. If it's made in America, then you don't pay. But at the same time, they're citing vehicles like the Chrysler Pacifica manufactured in Windsor as being a vehicle that the Trump tariffs will apply to. And so that's where we were left yesterday. It's like if it's assembled and manufactured, then it's still 25%. But then you go to the fact sheet, and there's a little more clarification there, although some ambiguity and confusion. But then Lutnick's call with Doug Ford further clarifies and confirms maybe that if it's 50% content, then the tariffs won't apply. But you can see why there's all this confusion, because even after the news conference, Trump is saying there's no exceptions, as he stated. Then the media is still reporting, because of what he said, that these vehicles assembled will be subject to 25%, but now maybe not. And it's fake. It's not real. It's all a show at this point, at least for the next hour. And again, how do you plan? But that's why people are not catching up. Even the politicians, the people involved, people don't know. You could go to the border right now and ask a customs officer on the U.S. side, what are you going to just ask? What's the tariff going to be on the Chrysler vans coming over on Tuesday? I guarantee you they'll say, I don't know, because I'm sure they don't have the paperwork yet, because it's complicated. And what the real what really needs to happen is if he wants to have changes to the USMCA, they should just get back to the bargaining table. And then I've heard some opposition politicians from some of the, at least, I think it was Max Bernier, said that what Trump really wants is to get back to the bargaining table and renegotiate USMCA early. And he said that the government should do that. But the government has offered to do that. And it just hasn't happened yet. And that's because of all the rhetoric and the threats and the show. I'm actually getting tired of it. We should talk about other stuff. But the other stuff is all crazy too. Like today, you've got Keir Starmer, right? Saying that Putin is playing games on the ceasefire. And Britain is stepping up because of the United States now being an unreliable partner to Europe, and it's destabilizing the geopolitical realities out there. Again, it's because of one guy, Trump, turning the world upside down. And for what? Here's Keir Starmer today, news conference, talking about Ukraine and how what Europe needs to do in his view.
Let me start by thanking President Macron for bringing us together today. Between the two of us, we've now convened 4 of these meetings in either London or Paris. And it's now, obviously, over 2 weeks since Ukraine agreed to an immediate 30-day ceasefire. That offer is still unanswered. It's over a week since Putin agreed to an energy and infrastructure ceasefire. But since then, Russia has hit energy infrastructure in cities across Ukraine.
This was a meeting of the
They've increased their bombardment,
Coalition of the Willing
firing
today.
over 1,000 long-range drones at the country, hitting Ukrainian homes, schools and hospitals, with widespread civilian casualties. One drone killed a mother, a father and their daughter, an innocent family. Then this week we saw the agreement on a ceasefire in the Black Sea. I welcomed this as a vital first step forward, but within a few minutes of the announcement, Russia set out new conditions and delays.
Right.
Now, President Trump has rightly called them out for dragging their feet. And we agreed here in Paris today that it's clear the Russians are filibustering. They are playing games and they're playing for time. It is a classic from the Putin playbook. But we can't let them drag this out while they continue prosecuting their illegal invasion. Instead, we should be setting a framework and a deadline of delivering real progress. And then we should hold them to that deadline. So here in Paris, we've agreed that we must go further now to support the peace process, support Ukraine, and increase the pressure on Russia to get serious. That means, first, stepping up the military pressure. So the Defense Secretary will chair the next Ukraine Defense Contact Group on the 11th of April to marshal more military aid and keep Ukraine in the fight. Because peace comes through strength. That was one of the main messages reasserted today and emphasized today all around the table and the meeting. Second, it means increasing the economic pressure on Russia, accelerating new, tougher sanctions, bearing down on Russia's energy revenues, and working together to make this pressure count. We also discussed how we can support the implementation of a full or partial ceasefire when it is in place, and how we can build on efforts towards negotiations on a just and lasting peace. That remains our shared goal, and it's what the Coalition of the Willing is designed to support. The political will from partners here today was clear. And this week in London, we hosted over 200 military planners from 30 countries, coming forward with contributions on everything from logistics and command and control to deployments on land, on air, and on sea. That work continues at pace. We will be ready to operationalize a peace deal whenever its precise shape turns out to be. And we will work together to ensure Ukraine's security so it can defend and deter against future attacks. This is Europe mobilizing together behind the peace process on a scale that we haven't seen for decades. Backed by partners from around the world, we are determined to deliver a just and lasting peace, because we know that it is vital for Ukraine and Europe as a whole. And I am clear that it's also vital for Britain.
Okay, so that's enough. I will say this. The one good thing that has come out of this Trump's approach to Ukraine is this. At least they're talking a little bit about peace, and it has exposed Russia for its deception. Because by beating, by having Trump and Vance beat Zelensky into submission, even though he's the victim in the whole damn thing, it's true. They beat him up. He agrees to an unconditional ceasefire. That was 2 weeks ago now. And so to all these people out there who are like, why doesn't just Ukraine just stop? Well, they agreed to. And why hasn't it stopped? Because Putin refused. It was very, very simple. Stop shooting. Unconditional ceasefire for 30 days. Ukraine agreed to it. You heard the announcement. Both Ukraine and the White House acknowledged that. Then the ball was in Putin's court. What did he do? He came back with all these demands. He could have just said, okay, we'll just stop for 30 days. Like the other side. But no, didn't do that. That's a fact. You can go look it up if you don't believe me. We reported on it here. It was widely reported all the way around the world. That's the facts. And Putin said no, because we need all these conditions. And it was double speak. It was like, we agree with the idea of a ceasefire in principle, but... So he makes it sound like he's in agreement with it, but doesn't agree to it. He'll agree to it if Ukraine surrenders. That's what it came down to. And, of course, that didn't work. And then it's just been, hacked and slashed and pared down into this deal, this ceasefire in the Black Sea, where essentially Ukraine agrees to stop blowing up the Russian Navy using drones that they have developed to use underwater and in the water. And they've been wreaking havoc on the Russian Navy in the Sevastopol port, and Ukraine doesn't even have a navy. They've been doing this. They've been blowing up Russian ships and sinking them with no navy. And Russia is like, okay, let's have a ceasefire there. It's advantageous more for Russia than Ukraine at this point, although later a ceasefire there would maybe allow Ukraine to get its grain to market by shipping it out through the Black Sea, through a different port, which they still have some access to. But, and that's important for the Ukrainian economy, to be sure, but they're not at that point in the season right now. And when they had the agreement before, also of note, it was Russia that backed out of the grain deal, which was supposed to allow, this is a long time ago now in the conflict, back near the beginning, that was supposed to allow Ukraine to get its grain out and then to allow safe shipping through there. Russia backed out of it. They ended it. So this is, again, it's just, that's the positive side, is it's taking the veneer off this narrative that Russia is the one that wants peace and Ukraine is to blame for everything. It's just not true. And so we're still a long ways from peace, obviously. What else do we have lined up for you tonight? I think we're kind of at this point. I had some other clips kind of related to this stuff, but we don't really need to get into that. Why don't we just take a few minutes here, and I will get the phone system set up and you guys can call in. We'll do a little bit of a call in tonight if you want, and I will be right back on the other side of this.
You know, someone very profoundly once said many years ago that if fascism ever comes to America, it'll come in the name of liberalism.
Well, I think it's time we ask ourselves if we still know the freedoms that were intended for us by the Founding Fathers. If we lose freedom here, there's no place to escape to. This is the last stand on Earth.
The entire world is watching.
Every dictator, every crazy dictator in the world is watching.
The world is watching. On TV, the entire world is watching. On social media.
But the entire world is watching, and yes, they are seeing what we have apparently bravely been willing to say that others are thinking.
Stand for freedom. Literally stand for freedom. Let's get this done. The entire world is watching.
We're at war with the most dangerous enemy that has ever faced mankind in his long climb from the swamp to the stars.
Maverick News. Maverick News. Maverick News.
Let me have more control of my own destiny.
The world is watching.
Okay, I'm going to run the promo. I've got a caller on the line. I'm going to go take the call. Here's the number to phone if you want to. Okay, Mavericks, it's call-in time. Join the conversation. Call 1-647-734-4220. Then enter the PIN number 860-075-764, followed by the pound sign. Exercise your right to free speech. Call 1-647-734-4220. Then enter the PIN number 860-075-764, followed by the pound sign. Call 1-647-734-4220. Then enter the PIN number 860-075-764, followed by the pound sign. Maverick News. Call now. The world is watching and listening to you. Okay, let's bring our first caller in tonight in just a second here, and I'll just put the number up on the screen for you as well, everybody, so that it'll be on the ticker on the bottom. You can join. Oh, no, not that one, Rick. This one over here. I think this one works. There we go. 1-647-734-4220, and then just punch in that PIN number when the system prompts you so you can join the conversation here live on Maverick News, just like John from Alberta. Welcome back.
Well, good evening, Maverick News family. Rimby John in Alberta. And all my love and friendship to Dragon, my dear friend in Montreal. I didn't mean to be hard on him last night, but I love him. I love him. I love him. Anyways, just want to stay on real quick, Rick. I want to say on behalf of a lot of people in the Maverick family, thank you for what you do. I think a lot of people don't realize the dedication to your integrity, your honesty, your journalism that you do. There's a lot of other podcasters out there in the world, in Alberta, everywhere, and they haven't sat one day in journalism school. So on behalf of a lot of people, Rickster, we love you as a lifelong friend. We support you, and we admire your integrity and your credibility and your incredible family values. So that's my first comment. Second comment.
Checks in the mail.
Breaking the check. The oil check is in the mail.
My
Yes,
check to you is in the mail. Thank you. You earned your pay tonight, John.
A breaking story. I think,
go ahead. Sorry.
A breaking story, I think, from Juneau. There is, and unfortunately, it's right in my backyard. There's allegedly a liberal a guy running for the first time, very well-known realtor. Allegedly, the guy's name is Thomas Keeper, and there's some big, allegedly, sexual allegations against him of allegedly abusing his wife.
No. John, because I have integrity, and I don't know anything about this.
No, I shot at you. I don't know.
Okay. No, just stop. Just stop for a moment. Hang on. Just stop for a moment, please. This is coming from another media outlet. I don't know anything about it. It's involving possible criminal allegations, very serious, in the middle of an election, which may be politically motivated, so they may not be factual. Until I know more about it, I don't even want to talk about this. I will get and we will talk. I will talk about it when I know what the details are. But until then, I don't want to talk about this anymore, because these are the kinds of things that, if it's not handled properly, can lead to lawsuits against us for saying the wrong thing. So,
I just mentioned it, but I do want to send you. There's lots and lots and love from Alberta, for Team Canada, and we really need to stand strong together, even though we have differences, and they're between Alberta and Quebec. We've got to stand together as Team Canada to fight the orange orangutan.
Yeah, and I think that what we've seen here tonight in the last 24 hours shows that it's working, because this whole thing with the auto tariffs, it's turning out to be just like a show. I think he's just trying to save face at this point, realizing that he can't just slap a 25% tariff on everything like he said. That's what he said he was going to do. He kind of doubled down on it yesterday, but didn't. And now you're getting into the details and you're realizing that it's all fake. What was the purpose of this? It's amounting to nothing. At least with the auto industry stuff, right? Like, we've got all the other stuff, but like, look at the details. Like, it's so this is weird, man. This is really weird. And you can't let a bully beat you into submission. Stand up, have pride, defend yourself. He'll respect that. And even without all of this, I think it's just a big reality slap that he's waking up to now, because I think that people probably are telling him, Donald, if we do this, the cost of a car is going to increase more than 25%. You're going to add 15 grand to the cost of a mid-sized car. It's insane.
Well, Rick, and look, a lot of Alberta were huge MAGA people for Trump. I think, and I'm talking because I'm boots on the ground in Alberta, but I mean, I'm talking to people now at coffee shops, farmers, ranchmen, oilmen. We've really, really been duped by Trump, allegedly, feel very betrayed. And I never thought, Rickster, I would ever say this, but Sleepy Joe, basement Bolshevik Bunker Biden in the ice cream shop was a much gentler statesman around the world and a friend of Canada. I mean, I'm part American, and I can tell you,
John, I didn't think it could get any worse than having a president who literally was sleepwalking in news conferences. And,
Yes,
how
it's
much
not
worse could it
It's
get, right?
1,000 times worse.
And then we get this.
And Richter, thank the good Lord above. Thank you, Lord. I love you, Lord. At the Resolute, that red button on Trump's desk, it's for a Diet Coke.
Yeah.
It's not the nukes. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, baby Jesus.
At least he
Thank
gets
you,
that
my Lord.
impulse to hit the red button out of his system, right?
Yeah, that's for a Coke, not for a. Oh, who are the people around this orange orangutan that are providing him with advice? Nobody.
And his administration is a lot weaker today than it was a few days ago because of this Signal Gate scandal. They've lied and lied and lied to cover their butts, saying no classified information was discussed in this call. Just the fact that it was on Signal alone is reason to really justification to fire them all because of what they did.
So Rick, I've got a question for you, sir. Yeah, I love your intelligence, your integrity, your journalism. So, a lot of MAGA people in Alberta are feeling very betrayed, as well as Team Canada. Is this all being done on purpose to destroy our country and our economies? And I'm a subnote to that. I'm just surprised and shocked that the Prime Minister of Canada is not linking arms, arm in arm with our President lady in Mexico to squeeze our countries together as the Oreo cookie and literally bring, and with all my American friends, no disrespect, bring the United States of America to their knees. They need our potash, our oil, our gas, our fisheries, our lumber. They need so much more stuff from Mexico and Canada than we need from them. Yeah. And I hate to be an asshole, sorry, Lord, but I think there's going to be some really tough days ahead. I love Doug Ford's approach. Mm-hmm. Daniel Smith is a different point. The president of Mexico. Let's bring, and I don't want to make my American relatives and friends pain, but you brought us pain. We're going to bring you pain back by 1,000-fold, because the United States of America will not exist without the treasure chest of Canada and Mexico. And how do you deal with a bully, Rickster? Yeah. Arms up, elbows up, Mike Myers. It takes a long time, Rickster, to piss off a Canadian. And I think we're way beyond pissed off now. And at the end of the day, Rick, in the Maverick News, and I'm part American with my friends and relatives in Minnesota. This, at the end of it, what Trump has done, it's going to backfire on him, because it's going to make Canada 1,000 times stronger, and it's also going to strengthen Mexico. Everything Donald Trump is doing, it's going to backfire on him, and it is already. It is already. There's cracks in the armor, and what do you think, Rick?
That's exactly the case. I agree with you. That's what is on display here tonight. These tariffs are already backfiring on him. The way he's doing this, and what we're talking about here with the exemption under USMCA, which is, see, it was the best trade deal ever when he negotiated it. Then it became the worst trade deal ever when he came back into office, forgetting that he was the guy who negotiated it. So he did the tariffs. Then the auto industry, it wasn't even us. Well, it was us with, saying we're standing up for ourselves, but it was also the auto industry executives going to see him, I think, and just the reality of the situation that has now resulted in him saying, or quietly publishing the fact sheet saying, yeah, if it's USMCA compliant, no tariffs. So that's where we're at now, and that's because it's a slap upside the head of reality, because it's backfiring on him. So I absolutely agree with that. And you're also right, John. We talked about this, you and I, in another conversation about Canada. Our prime minister should be on a plane going down to Mexico to meet with the president of Mexico and their trade delegation to come up with a unified approach to combat these tariffs, not to hurt the United States. That's not the goal. Ultimately, it's to get things back to normal and end this trade war, these tariffs. Just stop that and get back to mutually beneficial trade.
Well, and I mean, Rick, we've talked about this before, and it's a theory of mine. Give me your opinion when I'm done. I think Trump this is all done on purpose. I think he's got some. I don't know if the Russians have videos on him or something. There's a mysterious tie there between Donald J. Trump, the newest 47th president of the United States of America, who we love, we respect. We respect the office. There's a tie there because what he's doing is he's the orange orangutan, the 2,800 pounder. Thank you for that song. In the China shop, and this could have been handled a very, very different way. I would have handled it this way if I was President Trump. The first minute I was in the Oval Office, I would have immediately contacted not Governor Justin Trudeau. I would have contacted the Prime Minister of Canada and the President of Mexico and invited them immediately for an emergency state dinner at the White House, and let's work together. We're together. Better together as a team, no tariffs. And the only side note I can give you, I'm in a massive oil fight, which I've won, and I never would have won that, Rickster, without my team. I have a team of lawyers, scholars, people around me. I have a team. I couldn't do it on my own. I have a team of people, silage crew, combining crew. I have a team of people. We work intimately together, 12, 13 hours a day, sometimes 7 days a week. We work together as a team.
Yeah.
That's where Trump got it wrong, is he's divided his greatest ally in the world and largest trading partner, Canada.
And just a reminder, let's get another person on the line here. Call in at 1-647. I don't have anybody yet. 1-647-734 4220, 1-647-734-4220. Please continue, sir.
Well, like Rick, when you're a farmer, and you can be a farmer in Nova Scotia, Quebec, Ontario, Manitoba, we work together. You have to work together. You can be the most brilliant, rich person in the world, but if you don't have a team of people around you, and here's my caveat to that. You need a team of people around you, Rick, that respect you, that love you, that trust you, that are part of the team.
Yeah, well, they don't even have to love you to have a good team. But who else is on the line?
We love you in Alberta, Rickster. We love you.
Yeah.
We respect you, and we love your integrity. And my friend, I know you've had some dark days with your constraints, and we admire what you're doing.
Thank you, John. I appreciate that. We've got another caller on the line joining us, and who is there?
It's Lori here, Rick. How are you tonight?
I'm fine. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks. I got a question for John there, our source in Alberta. He mentioned earlier that a lot of his MAGA friends in Alberta were very disappointed in Mr. Trump, and I just wondered why they are disappointed. What did they expect they were going to get from him that they're not getting?
Well, I think my friend Rimby John from Alberta, I think we were like a lot of Canadians, a lot of Albertans, Ontarians, Saskatchewan, Quebecers. We were led down this garden road of supporting the orange orangutan, our 47th president of the United States, Donald J. Trump. We were fed a bill of goods, and it quite frankly was bullshit, horse shit. And he got in there, and he's turned. You don't turn on your brother or sister in Mexico or Canada that have supported the alliance between Canada, I think, my friend, and the United States. It's broken. They're not trustworthy. The Americans are not trustworthy.
Yeah, but look, we got another caller on the line too. But Lori is really asking you, I think, John, what is Trump doing?
I'm not the orange orangutan.
Okay, Sandy. But John, Lori is asking, what is it that Trump is doing that we didn't expect?
Well,
I'm
he's
not
betrayed.
from Alberta.
He's betrayed. He's betrayed Canada.
Yeah, so we didn't expect
He's
this.
betrayed us.
We didn't expect
In
him
what
to come after us.
in what way though? Let's be specific here. Do you mean with the tariffs?
In every way.
You mean
what
with,
are you are you a moron not looking at the real news? He's betrayed Canada in every way going.
No, John, no. That's not
Hey,
reason.
I'm done here, Rick. I don't need that.
No,
I'll see you
he didn't.
later.
He didn't mean it that way, Lori. Don't leave, John.
I'm here. It's Sandy.
Hi, Sandy.
You know what, John? Stop with the name calling.
Yeah, he just was asking you a question, John. That's all. He just was trying to get a perspective on.
I
don't
like being betrayed.
like Lori.
Yeah, but that didn't make Lori
I
a
like
moron.
our chat.
He was asking a legitimate question.
John. Don't interrupt me, John.
Go ahead, Sandy.
Enough.
Yeah,
Enough, John.
Yeah, we brought the enforcer in, John. Sandy
You
is
damn
gonna,
right.
Yeah, gonna keep you on the right side.
Sandy isn't so sunny right now. John, enough.
Well, enough of what, Sandy? Reality?
No, just calling people a moron.
enough
That's all.
of
That's
you.
all. It's
Enough
okay.
of you
Well, I
It's
being a
okay.
moron.
It's
You're
okay.
being a
I
moron.
apologize.
Enough.
I
Enough
think
already.
I think it just kind of slipped out, and he didn't really mean to
I
attack Lori.
apologize.
No, don't stand up for him, Rick. No, enough. Enough, John.
Okay.
Enough of you. You're orange orangutan in the room. You're Alberta oil and this and that and you're fluff.
Okay. It's okay, Sandy. Let's just kind of let it go. No, Sandy, please. I understand, but it's okay.
No.
He knows.
Enough,
And he apologized. He apologized.
John
so
Rimley
we're good.
here from Alberta, Canada. Oh, here we go. Alberta, Canada. Here we go. You're a drunkie, John.
Sandy.
You're a drunkie.
Sandy. No. Come on now.
Well, why did he start talking about abusive family and somebody being abusive in their home?
Yeah, okay.
Enough.
Okay, Sandy, it's okay.
Enough.
All right, okay. He stopped. So it's okay. Let's do this, okay? Since this whole program is going, oh my goodness, now she's gone. Who left? Was that Sandy or John left? Who's still here?
I hope John left.
John left.
Good. Rick, he was too much.
Okay.
He's too much.
He's
abusive.
Okay, it's Sandy. What we really need right now is something uplifting. How about can I get you to just maybe?
I don't want to say anything against John.
No.
But you know
Okay.
what?
Let's stop talking about John. How about can I just get you to say something that's gonna make me smile, bring me a little sunshine tonight? Can we do that? Because I love your voice. I need your sunshiny voice, and say something. Bring something positive and uplifting to us here this evening.
Bring sunshine into your home.
Okay. What's the weather like where you're at today?
It's windy. There's a storm coming. There's rain, freezing rain.
No.
It.
It's even worse. I was hoping you would say that it was like spring and getting warm and it was sunshiny. But no, instead you brought the storm and the wind and the rain. And oh my goodness.
Calm before the storm.
Oh, so we still have a big dark cloud hanging over us tonight here on Maverick News, where everybody ended up fighting.
Rick, but you know what?
Yeah.
Pretty out there. You know what I mean?
Can't win.
You know what? Have you ever heard a saying? You know what I mean? Jelly bean.
Yeah, I've heard that. Yes.
I use it a lot. You know what I mean? Jelly bean.
I do know what you mean, Jelly Bean. Who's on the line now? Oh my goodness. Who's on the line now?
Don't blame me.
No, I'm not blaming you.
Sunshine and lollipops. It's Isabel.
Rainbows and Isabel.
Oh.
I
I
can't
love
sing,
Isabel.
but I gotta laugh. Come on now.
What day is
I
it today?
love
Is it
Isabel.
Thursday?
Yeah.
It's
I lost a
Thursday.
day. I thought it was still Wednesday. That's how my life is
No.
going. But
No,
what,
hump day,
Isabel?
hump day was yesterday.
What's the weather like
Yeah,
where
that
you're
was
at?
hump day.
Where I'm at,
Yeah.
we had sun all day.
Oh, finally. Good. Thank you for that.
It was sunny.
Was it? And it's
Isabel,
warm?
where are you from?
I'm from Glencoe. I'm not far from Rick.
Yeah, it was sunny here too.
Awesome. Are you Scottish?
Born, yes. Kemper, yes. But I mellowed out because I live in Canada now. I'm sorry.
Oh, I have a little Aberdeen in me.
Oh. Oh, I've been here since, my God, 1957.
Woo. Oh wow.
Yeah.
When were you born?
Kilwinning in Scotland.
Really?
Yep.
Beautiful. I love Scotland.
So do I. I just can't go there because when I fly, I pass out. So I end up on a gurney in the airport somewhere.
Okay.
I don't fly well.
How old were you?
I was 5.
I don't know if this is news, but it's an interesting conversation. Who else is on the line
Oh wow.
tonight? Somebody just called in.
Norfa,
Norfa, what would you like to talk about?
I would just like to say I am so sorry that the evening started like this with the calls, and that we love you, love your show. We learned so much from you, and we're in sunny Florida, and we're coming back home to Vancouver in about 3 weeks. Just trucking, doing our thing. Yep.
Good.
And so I was just calling in to say a friendly hello.
Well, thank you for that, for bringing a little Florida sunshine our way. Tell me, is everything okay down there? Are you having any issues with people saying, get out of our country, you crazy Canadians, or is everything cool?
No, I haven't had anything like that happen. Everything's been pretty good. Mind you, I haven't talked to a lot of people, and I mean, I'm not walking around saying, hey, I'm from Canada. I'm not
Waving
taking
a
any
Canadian
chances.
flag with your maple MAGA
Right
hat.
on.
Yeah.
Well, it's really funny you should say that, Rick, because we used to run the, on our big rig, we used to run the Canadian flag as well as the U.S. flag. You still there, Rick?
I'm still here. I'm just listening. Yes.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry. I thought I dropped it. But we used to run the Canadian flag and the American flag because we're cross-border drivers. So, but now these days, I don't put a flag up. I don't even put one up at home. Never mind. I'm just concerned for our safety.
Yeah. Yeah.
Can I say something, Rick?
Sure, Sandy. Go ahead.
Okay, my sister went to Florida and they have a house there in Port-au-Prince, Florida. I think I pronounced it right. And they went through the borders and it was clean, it was safe, and everything was fine.
Good. That's good. I'm glad to hear that.
Amen,
And I'm glad to hear that
There's
things
a
seem to
sunny side.
be stable where you're at there, Norfa. It's hard to when you're not there. It's hard to gauge some of these reports, right? And how much of a problem there is with the relationship between Canadians and Americans down there.
Whereabouts in Florida, Norfolk?
We unloaded in Miami this morning, and now we're heading up to Orlando tomorrow to load for Toronto.
Oh.
Yeah.
I used to like going, we used to because I'm a biker, but we used to do the rallies down there for the Goldwing group.
Oh, boy.
Awesome.
And it was great. We were always welcomed with open arms. Here come the Canadians. Not so sure anymore.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, absolutely, for sure. Like when we crossed the border, like there's actually the state of Arkansas. This had me kind of concerned when we had left. I intentionally had told our dispatcher
do not send us to Arkansas, because since Trump's been in, what do you call them? I can't remember. The mayor of Arkansas said that any truck drivers coming from anywhere that come into the state of Arkansas, if you do not hold a U.S. driver's license, your truck will be seized, you'll be fined, and you'll be sent back to wherever you originate from. And so I specifically had said to our dispatch, look, it's apparently, it's still on the table, they're discussing it. Why this came about, it came out of the blue. I don't even know why, but they are still discussing it. And lo and behold, we got very unlucky, got a load for Arkansas, so we had to go into Arkansas. But when we pulled into the highway scale, they gave us the green light. They actually pulled Buddy in that was beside us, and they just said, keep going. But I'm thinking, because maybe they saw it was a Canadian plate on the truck, that they're like, oh, those are the Canadians, they'll be fine. I think it was more from the Mexican side that they were concerned about.
Oh, that's still scary though.
That's
scary.
Actually, yes, and it did scare me actually. But you gotta keep a strong front, right?
Yeah.
But I'm not as comfortable working down here right now as I used to be. I find myself to be very much on edge lately. So yeah.
Well,
But
with the
that'll
way
pay the
things are
bills somehow.
going, I mean, it puts everybody in an anxiety state, right?
Absolutely, without question. And it's my husband and I and
Staying
our
in
two
Canada.
puppies. Yeah, unfortunately, the money is cross border. Just running in Canada just doesn't it just doesn't do it anymore. So.
And do you think
that's the only reason?
I think it's fair to say that you're answering Lori's question to John by talking about this, because this is something that nobody really expected with Trump coming back in. I mean, I was concerned about the immigration stuff and how that was going to be handled because of possible violations of rights, which we're getting. But I didn't think that he was going to say that he was going to annex our country. I didn't ever hear him talk about that. Did he?
Absolutely. No, absolutely not. And the funny thing is that my husband and I, if we were Americans, we both would have voted for Trump. We were rooting for him. And I mean, I'm not pleased with him 100% back before, like when he was campaigning, but he definitely would have had our vote. But what he has done since he got in is nothing that he talked about during his campaign. Yeah. And so we did support him, but he's really going down south with us because of what he's doing, which are things that he did not discuss.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's the problem. Like he had
Absolutely.
the backing of a lot of the auto unions.
Yes.
And
It's
he
the
turned
auto
on them.
sector. Yeah.
Yeah, he turned on them. Like this guy that's in there now, and I mean, we already had a trade agreement. Everything was working fine, and then he just went totally idiotic.
Yeah,
for no reason.
I think I've mentioned it to Rick before. I think there's I think there's a lot more going on than just Trump being the president. I think there's a lot more going on in the background that nobody knows about. What I mean by that is just that I think that there's more going on than what we're seeing and what we're being told.
There's more going on than what meets the eye.
Yeah, there's things behind the scene that he's got planned. That this is just like the I'm going to throw this at them so they're not going to know what's going on back here. That's the feeling I get.
Me too,
I'm with you
Isabel.
100%.
Me too.
Yes, I agree 100%.
Yeah.
And
it's knowing what comes next.
Exactly. And also, I think he's out for revenge big time. He's out for blood, and he's going to make people pay for what they put him through too. I think that's
And
a
we're
big
all
part of
gonna
it as
talk.
well.
Hey, Norfolk,
Yeah,
I said that the other day. He's out for blood.
yeah, 100%.
The Department of Getting Even.
Exactly. I was just
Yeah.
going to say that.
He's the Department
Yeah.
of Revenge Trump.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I know, speaking for me and my husband, we are very disappointed. Well, not that he could care less, but we're very disappointed because we really did have some belief and faith in him. And then he turns around and does all these things. Not okay.
Yeah.
No, it's not okay.
It doesn't
and
make sense.
He's pulled the wool over the people in the states who voted for him. They are now like, oh my God, what do we got? Because I see a lot of people on Facebook posting and all over the world in support of Canada with their Canadian flags up.
Yeah.
But we have but the reality is down there, Norfolk. I think you can acknowledge that when you're down in a place like Florida or down in the southern U.S. in particular, Canada's not really on people's radar down there. They don't pay attention to Canada, so they're just they're not really aware.
No, not at all. I mean, there's still people down.
I support Florida, I support America, and I support Canada.
Yeah, let Norfolk. Can I just get Norfolk to just comment on that, there, Sandy?
Yeah.
Sure.
I just lost my train of thought real quick. Doggone it.
Yeah, but people don't really have Canada on their radar. They don't really. They're not aware. They don't focus on Canada at all. They don't think of us.
Right. Like sometimes somebody will catch. Well, of course they say you have an accent. Where are you from? And Canada. And oh yeah, Canada. That's the place where you guys have free medical. And I'm like, oh my gosh, they make me sound like an Eskimo.
Yeah.
You know that I haven't my igloo. And but yeah, I mean, yeah. And I'm like, well, we used to, but not like we used to. We definitely aren't. It's not like it used to. But like I have a lady friend down here in Arizona, and I think it costs her, is it $55,000 or is it $35,000 a year for her? So she has medical coverage for herself. Whoa. Yeah. Wow. So when I'm down here and I explain to them how our system works, they're like, "Oh, you guys are so lucky." I said, "No, you're so lucky. Do you guys have any idea the taxes we pay?"
Well, I'll tell you, my brother's mother-in-law had a heart attack on board a cruise out of Miami, and she went into hospital. She went on the helicopter. They flew her to the nearest hospital. $75,000 for 7 days in ICU. They went into bankruptcy when they came back home.
Oh my God.
I mean, my husband was in the hospital, oh my God, twice. Once for his arteries, he had a quintuple bypass. He was in the hospital for 10 days here. And again, he went in for his cancer. He was in again for 2 weeks. I cannot imagine if it was $75,000 for an ICU and he was in ICU twice, what it would have cost us there as opposed to what we didn't pay here.
Oh my gosh! Can you just imagine?
And I can share an important tip with everyone. And Norfa, maybe you're familiar with this. I don't know, but if you are traveling in the U.S. and you get sick, and you have to go to the hospital, and you have health insurance, do not allow them to do tests or approve any procedures until your insurance company is notified and approves the care that you are about to get, because if you sign the paper before you get the approval, they'll stick you at the bill and your insurance company doesn't have to pay.
100%. You are responsible.
Yep.
Yeah. So get the insurance company to sign off on it first.
You're on
Correct.
the line for it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. That's right.
I mean, it's scary. I mean, there's a lot of things that we don't like up here, but being able to walk into the doctor without having $200 in your pocket.
Yeah.
Just
Like,
don't think that
I
you're
mean-
going to go in there. It's important. Don't go in there if you're like admitted an emergency or whatever, and then sign the forms and think that your insurance company is going to approve it later. No, you have to get them to do it
that's not
first.
happening.
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah.
Well,
100%.
In 1972, my husband and I went on our honeymoon to New York. And for him to have 7 stitches removed in his elbow was $150.
7 stitches?
Really?
7 stitches.
I would take them out myself.
Well,
Before
I
pay.
wanted to, but he wouldn't let me.
Well, that's
Rick
not
is
very
a
cheap either
braveheart.
because when our dog had surgery for, just different reasons, I take their stitches out myself. I just put my little gloves on and my our little COVID mask there and and take them out myself just to save another charge.
There's Norfa.
Yeah.
Trucker half-time trucker and half vet.
I don't think he trusted me.
Yeah, no kidding.
Isn't it amazing what you learn about medical and doctors? And it's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Although there are certain, like my brother-in-law went down. We used to go to Kissimmee, Florida, and he went down one year, and he had a set of dentures made down there. And I almost fell over when he told me it was only $450. And he said, but that was really cheap. I said, $450? He goes, yeah, what it cost me is $3,200 here in Ontario.
Yep. Unbelievable.
Rent
That
is
is
more than
wicked.
$450.
Well, listen, guys, the clock is ticking here. Let's go around the clock, our clock, and we'll start with Norfa, and we'll just get a final thought from everybody as we wrap up tonight.
Okay. Nice chatting with everyone this evening on the phone as well as in chat. And I hope that things can go a lot better for every one of us because we sure need it. And I just hope that these government officials can get their stuff together and really start taking care of us because, again, everyone in this world needs it right now, very much so.
I agree. Okay, Isabel, your turn.
Well, I want to thank Norfa for joining the group. I wish you a safe trip back. I really do. And yeah, we need to keep our heads cool. We're through this. I mean, what else can we do? And maybe, the officials will get their shit straightened out.
Yeah, and I think we've already made some progress, as we've seen with these auto tariffs and the current status. And Sandy, give me some sunshine, please.
Thank you, Norfa. Thank you, Isabel. Thank you, Sir Rick.
Thank you, Sandy.
You're welcome.
Love you
There's
guys.
always a light side.
All right, and tomorrow I think the Vances are still going to Greenland, but they've revised their travel plans so that they're not going to irritate the Greenlanders or the government of Denmark quite so much because they're going to stick to some military bases there and visit there. I don't think she's going to the dog sled races because she was told they didn't have a ticket and they didn't want her. So I think the provocation has been nipped in the bud. We'll see what happens tomorrow. We'll bring you up to date on that as Trump's I guess vision of annexing Canada and taking over Greenland maybe coming off the rails just a little bit. But Elon Musk still wants to go to Mars. I will see you guys tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Eastern on the flip side. And here's Maverick and the News Brothers and Mega Mars.
He's got a plan, it's bold and grand, taking over land, sea and sand. Canada's ours, Greenland's in the mix, the Panama Canal's just another fix. But Mars, oh Mars, you pesky red sphere, your spying drones are making it clear. It's a threat to Earth, a cosmic sin, but don't worry, folks, he'll make Mars great again. MAGA Mars, you're the 53rd state. Under Trump, your future is great. With Elon Musk and the Space Force too, we're slapping tariffs on your Martian crew. Make Mars great, yeah, make Mars ours. Wave that flag on the red rock stars. We'll impose sanctions, taxes, and fines. Martian exports know they're crossing the line. The Martians cry foul, but Trump doesn't care. He'll build a space wall floating up there. Elon's on board with rockets ablaze. The stock market's loving this Martian craze. He says, trust me, folks, I know the deal. Martian gold is ours, this plan is real. MAGA Mars, you're the 53rd state. Under Trump, your future is great. With Elon Musk and the Space Force too, we're slapping tariffs on your Martian crew. Make Mars great, yeah, make Mars ours. Wave that flag on the red rock stars. Yeah, Mars hotels with golf resorts, intergalactic trade reports, a MAGA dome where Martians bow. We've got the best Martians, Trump says now. Fake news claims the plan's absurd, but Trump tweets back, it's the final word. Martian drones not on my watch. Space Force ready to kick it up a notch. MAGA Mars, you're the 53rd state. Under Trump, your future is great. With Elon Musk and the Space Force too, we're slapping tariffs on your Martian crew. Make Mars great, yeah, make Mars ours. Wave that flag on the red rock stars. So buckle up for the Martian fight. Trump's taking over the Martian night. It's all for freedom, it's all for the win. Oh, say can you see, he'll make Mars great again. Make Mars great, yeah, make Mars ours. Wave that flag on the red rock stars. So buckle up for the Martian fight. Trump's taking over the Martian night. It's all for freedom, it's all for the win. Oh, say, can you see, he'll make Mars great again.
This has been a Maverick Multimedia production.